I sat down. I want to hug this book. I'll hug it like this. I sat down with this book the other day and literally just went page by page through the book and was like, ooh, ooh. Hey, food explorers, welcome to this episode. Now, if you're watching this video, you're probably like, oh, Colleen, look at the pretty cookbooks. Oh, friends, these cookbooks are all leaving my house. They can't live here anymore. Why can't they live here anymore? There's quite a few reasons why they can't live here anymore. So I'm going to actually talk about the reasons why these 31 books are going to go and live somewhere else. I'm probably going to try and donate them and see if somebody else will take them off my hands. And if these books are not living here, then what cookbooks are living here? Because you're probably thinking, don't you have a lot of cookbooks, Colleen? I do. I have a lot of cookbooks and I love them very much. So I'm actually going to talk about, let's get rid of these and what is taking their place. So first, why these books? I'm kind of looking at my bookshelves here. I have 115 or so cookbooks that live in this house. These 31 books, why are they leaving? For a variety of reasons. As I was looking through all my cookbooks and trying to figure out what should stay and what should go, I realized that these ones here, many of them are really kind of out of date. So for a lot of these books, and I did a big purge of cookbooks probably 2 years ago, and I got rid of I'm going to say probably 30 books at that point as well. And these are the next 30 to be cut. Many of them are out of date in technique that they're doing. So if you're watching and you're looking at the titles, a lot of these are vegan, gluten-free. We got some custom kind of books from different hotels. So kind of like the hotel put a book together or the restaurant put a cookbook together. And I just found that when I was looking through the books that I actually use, these ones, oftentimes the recipes are too complicated or way too simple. There is one in this superfood snack book that's literally the recipe is take a date, take the pit out, and put a nut inside. And that's the recipe. I'm sorry. That's not a recipe. That's a quick, easy suggestion for something to grab on the go. That's that. That's not a recipe. That's not what I want in my recipe books. The other kind of funny thing is two of these books here are with Sarma, and I don't know, Sarma Melgalnis, I don't know how to say her last name. I don't know if any of you watch Bad Vegan. These two cookbooks here, Living Raw Food and Raw Food World, or whatever she calls it. Raw Food Real World. Yeah, Real World. Isn't she in prison now? So it's kind of funny because these ones here, the techniques are really outdated, but also the recipes are they don't really work. They're not super appetizing. I have a few here from Matthew Kenny, also a vegan that did bad things. What's with these vegans doing bad things? There's so many vegans doing amazing things. We're going to talk about one in just a moment. But these particular people, so Sarma and Matthew actually used to be business partners. And then he went off and he started Matthew Kenny Culinary, and he started all these restaurants. And then he kind of, I don't even know. And the funny thing is I'm actually a certified raw food chef through his academy. So many of his books that I got partly because when you take courses from him, it was funny because they sent you a full knife kit and they sent you cookbooks. But if you were in Canada, they wouldn't send you the chef coat with your name embroidered on it. Isn't that weird? So they would send knives through the mail, but they wouldn't send your chef coat. And I was actually pretty annoyed by that. So, but yeah, these ones here. And also, I'm kind of doing a little Marie Kondo here. These books do not bring me joy. Therefore, you've got to go. So, with all of these books that are leaving, what the heck is staying? Let me show you. I was going to try and push the cookbooks away, but I realized they're kind of heavy and they don't push really well. So I'm going to do some magic, and these cookbooks are going to be gone. Okay, so what am I using when I'm not using those books that are they're going away? I need to find somewhere I can donate them to. So I think I have an idea where they're going to go, but what am I using instead? So some of the new ones that I'm using that I find just a lot more useful, and it's partly because they've got technique and they've got really interesting stories. So first one is my sweetie actually got me this for Christmas. So Joshua Weissman, Texture Over Taste. This book is so good. Like, I love his YouTube channel. So shout out, Joshua, come on my podcast. But he also, in the book, he has, the whole section on like crunchy, and he goes through, has recipes. He introduces you to the concept of crunchy. Why do we like it? Why do we crave it? And I just like, because he has lots of stories in here and recipes. So for me, I find it's a much more useful book. So I love this. America's Test Kitchen. So funny enough, online, America's Test Kitchen, you have to sign up to get onto their recipes, but never fear, because we've got this, it's like 20-pound book. As you can see, there are a million sticky notes in this book because I actually use this one quite a bit. And it's great for learning technique. It's great for seeing how they have compared things, because I love what they do with America's Test Kitchen is they actually will go through and be like, okay, if I want the chocolate chip cookie to have the nice, crunchy base and crinkly top and soft center, like, how do I make that? Do I need to do brown sugar and white sugar? Do I need to do butter? Do I need to do, how do I make that? So they actually go through and they figure all these things out. So the recipes that are in here work. And I love this. Yeah, you can see I have a lot of sticky notes in this book, but I do like using this one quite a bit. And we actually have, from America's Test Kitchen, Jason has bought, like 4 or 5 more of their books. Now, Cooks Illustrated, the magazine. This is something that Jason uses more than I do, but oh man, the things that he has learned from these Cooks Illustrated magazines are incredible. And they're things that he uses all the time. Like, he makes this smashed cucumber recipe that is chef's kiss divine, doing the spatchcock chicken, all of that kind of stuff. And again, with these as well, they have in here, here we're going to do this recipe. Why does it work? How do we do it? And they kind of go through the whole process and trying all the different ways. They got a thing in here about bagels. And somebody's going to comment, of course, that I say bagels wrong. I don't care. That's how I say it. I say bagels. Deal with it. But they've got all these different recipes in here and why it makes a difference. And they have some history and stuff like that. So these are super fantastic. The Cooks Illustrated magazines. Like I said, Jason uses those more than I do. But I have the Cooks Illustrated, and you can see also lots of sticky notes. I have the Cooks Illustrated cookbooks that I will use for different things. Again, Cooks Illustrated, America's Test Kitchen. Jason also has the Food Lab upstairs, Kenji Lopez. All of these ones are done by people that are really diving deep into sort of the technique and the science behind why things are the way they are. So, love those. I would be nowhere if I did not have the Flavor Bible. And this is kind of, most kitchens, this is a standard book. And I use this for inspiration. I use this for, if I'm trying to think of a recipe and I'm like, I wonder what would go with that. So the way the Flavor Bible is actually laid out. So say you pick nuts. Okay, so nuts, they have general. Then underneath it, they say, see specific nuts, so pecans, walnuts, cashews, etc. And they have a little bit about the nut in there. They have little commentary from other chefs as well, which I really love. So they have like all these little stories as well. And then, so say I want to do pecans. So I would actually go to pecans. And when I look up my little pecans, passion fruit. Oh my gosh, I love passion fruit. I just made passion fruit truffles 2 days ago. Oh, you guys, so good. Now, if I go flipping, oh my gosh, there's so many things that start with P. Pecans. So we have the seasons, the taste, the weight, the volume. And then what they do in the Flavor Bible is they actually have in just what matches with pecan. What's good? What's good with pecan? You know what's good with pecans? Apricots. Apples. Those are good with pecans. Bananas, though, are really good with pecans. And then when they have things in bold and all caps, those are like, yeah, this is a match made in heaven. Best friends. What's pecan best friend with? Pecan is best friend with caramel. You know this. I know this. Pecan is also really best friends with sugar, brown sugar, white sugar, but brown sugar mostly, maple syrup. So it's really interesting because you can kind of go through here. They give you ideas for recipes as well. They give you all these little fun little stories, and it's really inspiring. So if I'm thinking about, okay, what could I possibly do with this ladder? Next thing, I will actually come to the Flavor Bible. We do have a few pictures in here as well, but it's more of that reference book, and I do enjoy it quite a bit. So that is that. And then we get into kind of the specifics, books by people that I know that I really like. So the Art of Raw Desserts, Crystal Bonet, she was actually on the podcast previously, so she was in an episode featuring her. She has this beautiful book, and we talked about this book, but she also has the Raw Desserts Creator Club. I'm going to put a link to it in the bio. I'm in this group. She is creating the most incredible raw, vegan, gluten-free, she does nut-free, she does all these desserts. They're phenomenal. And so I'm in her Dessert Creators Club right now, and I'm blown away by how amazing. So it's an online platform. The videos are incredible, high quality. The information is incredible. She has shopping lists for different countries. So if you're in the United States, if you're in Canada, you're in Australia, she's got shopping lists for you of where you can find like wholesale partners. She has a really great supportive community on Facebook as well. And so I just absolutely love what she's doing with this. And a big reason why those 31 books, they're on the floor now. They're on the floor. That's a disrespect in the books. But one of the big reasons why the majority of those books can leave my house is because I'm in Crystal's community. She puts to shame all of those books. Like everything that she's doing in her recipes are 100 times better than anything that's in any of those books. So I can be in her online community, or I can be in her little book here as well. She does webinars, she does training, she does masterclasses. Phenomenal. I cannot say enough about what she does. So if you're ever like, you know what, I want to start creating some desserts that are, and don't be like, oh, they're raw, vegan, and gluten-free. Blah. They're not. They are flavor bombs. She is so meticulous with putting together the recipes. They're fantastic. The other one that I'm really loving, this Eat Alberta First. This is Karen Anderson. She is a friend as well, and she put together this Eat Alberta First. I absolutely am adoring this book. It is full of stories, full of beautiful pictures, recipes, and she's got it organized through the seasons. Absolutely stunning book. I love this one here. And then Andreas Flera. So I talked about this in a previous episode where I talked about our cookbook reveal and what we're going to be doing throughout the year. And this New School Sweets by Andreas Flera is one of the books. So I'm actually hoping to get to Vegas in the summer and do a little interview with him and talk about his book. Then I'm going to get his cookbook signed because I love having a cookbook signed. So my Eat Alberta First book, yeah, it's signed. The Art of Raw Desserts, yeah, it's also signed. I love to have my cookbook signed, so I'm a nerd. Whatever, I don't care. Judge me. But his book, here's what I love about his book. Recipes are really smart. They're put together in a way that somebody at home can make these absolutely beautiful desserts. You don't have to be some kind of crazy top chef to actually make the desserts that are in his book, but they are nostalgia. And that's, I've talked about this in a few episodes, how I love nostalgia. I want to eat things that remind me of my childhood, that are delicious and delightful and all those great things. So this one here is absolutely fantastic. And then the last of sort of the cookbooks that I'm going to talk about, I just got this Kitten and the Bear cookbook. This is a Canadian couple. They have this cafe. This whole book is jams and jellies and scones. And I sat down. I want to hug this book. I hug it like this. I sat down with this book the other day and literally just went page by page through the book and was like, ooh, ah, ooh, the whole time. So this book just came out. It came out and I had it the next day because I was like, I need this book in my life. So what I'm going to do coming up, which is going to be super duper fun, is in my freezer. Oh my gosh, you guys, here's dirty little secret. In my freezer, I have all this frozen fruit that I just kind of been staring at. I'm like, oh, I don't know what to do with this. And now I do. So I'm actually going to take the frozen fruit, we're digging it out of the freezer, and I'm going to make a bunch of the recipes in this book. And I'm going to turn the fruit into jams, jellies, and then I'm also going to do some fruit syrups because I have decided that I should do chocolate plus mocktail classes. So I'm going to make a whole bunch of syrups. So I'm going to use all that fruit. So everything is going to be leaving the freezer and I'm going to be making stuff with it. I'm very excited. The last two things that I want to talk about that I'm just sort of getting into using. So one is the flavor matrix. This is a very cool book. So it's kind of like the flavor Bible. So it's the art and science of pairing common ingredients to create extraordinary dishes. But they have all these incredible diagrams inside that take an ingredient and break it down into its constituencies. And it's pretty nerdy and it's pretty scientific and it's pretty fascinating. But then they do this fun thing where they say, best pairings. So this is cucumber here. Best pairings: citrus, cilantro, mint, oil, mushroom, cheese, yogurt. Surprise pairings: hazelnut, persimmon. Okay, first of all, here's another thing to know about me. I hate persimmons. If you want to know why I hate persimmons, you can message me. I'm not going to put it up on the internet, but I have a very specific name for the persimmon. It's not a nice name. And then substitutes. So if you don't have cucumber, what can you substitute? You can substitute crisp lettuce, zucchini, or green beans. So that's where you're looking at a texture. And it's got all these just beautiful, gorgeous recipes in it. And it has, it just has some really crazy ways that it goes through. So this is the flavor matrix. So this is something I'm just kind of diving into. I got it a while ago and I keep going back to it. I'm kind of trying to figure out how I want to use it. And then the last one for books is the flavor equation. So this is the science of great cooking explained, and then more than 100 recipes. Here's what I love. Emotion, sight, sound, mouthfeel, aroma plus taste equals flavor. So it is a stunning book as well. And it goes through all of these different things. So it will talk about, how to make your own flavor extracts. So that's something that's in here. How to do different recipes like making preserved lemons. What about doing roasted fruit? How do we do roasted fruit? And so it's all these kind of a bit different things than you would usually do. It's not just sort of a basic one note kind of recipes. It's really kind of taking things to the next level and using things in a way that maybe you wouldn't typically use them. And so I really like that. Gorgeous pictures, case studies. This is a really interesting one. Debittering olive and mustard oil. So it's a whole case study on how to do it. But then it also has how do you boost the bitterness if you want to boost it. And it's really, it's very, very cool. So I'm excited to kind of dive into this one. I just got this one last year and I haven't had a chance to really go through it. But those are the books that I sort of gravitate towards more. But I do have a very robust collection of cookbooks. Maybe while I'm talking right now, if you're online and watching this, you're going to see all my beautiful cookbooks as I'm kind of doing a video of them. The other thing that I use quite a bit is online. So I'll go into places like Substack. We have a Substack now. I follow other people on Substack that are content creators that do recipes or lots of food stories, memoirs, things like that. So I do quite a few Substack where I follow them. I'll post our Substack below, and then you can head over to our Substack. We're putting out lots of articles, which is really fun. And then the last thing that I probably use is I'll do stuff with like Instagram, and I will kind of zip through them. I'm on a lot of food forward focused accounts, so I'll see kind of what they're doing. And then of course YouTube. I follow so many creators on YouTube, so people like Joshua Weissman. I follow him on YouTube. He does really cool stuff. There's one creator called Herman. He's fantastic to follow. But one of the things, and this is an upcoming episode because it's kind of making me crazy. I did a little rant the other day. I started finding all of these content creators on YouTube. They are all the same person. They're all different account names, but they are 100% the same person because, one is, whatever the name of the YouTube channel is. But then you go to this other YouTube channel. It's the exact same music. It's the exact same setup. The recipes are super similar. And it kind of makes me crazy because they're getting like millions and millions of views for these recipes, but they're deceitful and they're misleading. Like the one recipe's no sugar, no calorie recipe, and she's putting maple syrup in and she's putting honey in, and I'm like, oh friend, those are sugars. The one, it was like an entire can of coconut milk and trying to be like, no calorie recipe. I'm sorry, there's calories in that. So I'm actually going to go through and start to pull some of these videos out and just kind of do a little debunking, because as I'm watching them, I'm getting super duper ranty about it and pretty angry. So all of this is to say there's some amazing books out there. I will put these titles in the show notes for the ones that are what I am actually kind of like using. And I'll put a link to our Substack as well, so you can see that. But other than that, I want to know from you. Do you use cookbooks? Do you just online blogs? Maybe you like blogs. There's actually quite a few blogs that I like. I'm sort of moving from blogs to Substack, but there's still some blogs out there that do a pretty good job. Pinterest. Oh my gosh, we have Pinterest. I totally forgot. So I'm finding stuff on Pinterest as well. My goodness, there's so many places I'm finding stuff. But what do you guys use? Where are you at? Where are the people? And what are you doing? So let us know. Make sure you tell a friend about this episode, about all the episodes, and subscribe. We love when people subscribe. It makes us so happy. With that, have a great morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world, and I will see you soon. Thanks.